Welcome back to my channel, Book Besties. I am Brianna, and welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not. It's great to see you again. So today I am wanting to talk about my auto-buy authors. So let's get into it. I am one, I always want to know who people's auto-buy authors are. I want to know who they read and why. And so I thought today I could walk you through who my auto-buy authors are and why I love them so much in a quick video. So today I'm going to be walking you through 7 or 8 different authors and tell you about what I like about them and why I think they're worth picking up. So, of course, I've got some romance authors because it's me, but I also have some lit fic, some thriller, and some horror too. A little bit of almost everything. Not quite, but almost. But let's start with romance. So first up, I've actually found all of these authors within the last year. So from about this time last year till now. And the first one of those is, by no one's surprise probably, Abby Jimenez. And this was the first one that I read, was Part of Your World. I liked it so much that I even sprayed the edges of several of the books. It's a really fun hobby that I do. But this book, such a good read. It's opposites attract and small town, big city. She's 10 years older than he is, and she lives such a different life than him, and they don't think they'll work out, and it's so good and so sweet. And Abby just writes such real stories. I think that's what I like about her most, that they're very realistic in terms of, yes, there's always the happily ever after and everything, but the conflicts and things that people deal with are very real. So there was this one, and then the next in the series is Yours Truly. This is one of my favorites. I also did the edges on this one, but this is one of my favorites because, one, the lead female main character's name is Brianna, and, well, Abby spelt it correctly, so just saying. But also, the brother in this has kidney issues and is on dialysis. That is very much something that I can relate to within my own past. And the anxiety representation in this was very realistic and, again, very realistic. And then next in that series, I'm sure many of you know, was Just for the Summer. This one was just so cute and so good, and the conflict and the emotional family stuff really hit home. And then we have her other series. This was her first series, which was the Friend Zone series. So we've got the Friend Zone, the Happily Ever After playlist, and then Life's Too Short. Now, this will be said of auto-buy authors. I DNF'd this one. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't my cup of tea. But everything else that she's ever done, I've really enjoyed. So much so that I even sprayed these edges. I still need to figure out what I want to do on this one. Now, but this leads to her new book that has been so divisive online lately. You either love it or you hate it. There has been no in between from what I have seen. I even saw someone call her the fast fashion of publishing. And I wanted to be like, no, that would be Frida McFadden. Try again. But that was just me being snarky, but I'm just saying. Anyway, but say you'll remember me. This is probably an example of why she's an auto-buy author to me. This was so realistic to real life that I think that's the biggest part that people really hate, that I thoroughly enjoyed. She writes real life, and she just grabs your heart and she'll stomp on it, and then she'll lovingly put it back in your chest and give it a kiss better. So Abby is my #1 auto-buy author. If you haven't read her, if you, like me, had been putting it off and was like, oh, I'll get to it, I'll read her, do yourself a favor and try her out and see what you think. Next up is one of my absolute newest favorites, and that would be Lila Sage and the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I got this yesterday early because I ordered it locally, and so it got to me early, and I dropped everything. And I am on chapter 15, page 99. And Lila writes, she's just gotten better and better and better with each book. This one, Teddy and Gus, I loved their story. We were all waiting for this story, and it was worth the wait. But she writes such beautiful small town romances, again with mental health representation. And I never thought I'd love a cowboy because I'm from Utah and I grew up around them. And no thank you. These cowboys though, yes thank you. Yes thank you. And her next one is going to have a touch of paranormal, and I'm really looking forward to October when that new duology comes out. Well, the first one. So Lila Sage, do yourself a favor. If you haven't read cowboy romance and want to get into it, this is a really good start. So then next up in romance, we have 3 more. And this is probably my newest one where I've read all the books that I have in my possession by them. And that would be Tara DeWitt. So I have Funny Feelings and Savor It. And this is why I give authors at least a couple books before I'm like, nah. Funny Feelings was just an okay book for me. It was 3.75 stars. And I was like, okay. But I had heard such wonderful things about Savor It, and I had it. So I was like, okay, yes, I will read this. 5 stars. Amazing small town romance. Look at all that. Look at all these. And 99% of them are probably where I laughed. I cackled so hard that the cats looked at me like I was deranged. So I actually am going to an author event where Elsie Silver is going to be conducting the interview with Tara DeWitt. And I cannot wait. That's in May for the release of her new book. And I'll be able to get that. And so that's going to be really fun. So now these next 2, I've read 1 book by them, and I liked them so much that I immediately bought all their backlist off of Pengo. But hey, I'm giving up books a second life. And so the first step of that is, Sarah Adams. I have read When in Rome, and that was a 5-star read. And I immediately got the other 2. But I am that extra person when I get hyper fixated on something that I'm like, I must own them all. A little Gollum-like, I guess. Sure. And so I did. And here we are. But I have heard nothing but good things about Sarah Adams, that they're really sweet and small, and I love a small town romance kind of thing. And so I'm probably going to continue on with these first and then go into these, but I'm very, very excited to have these and to have been able to get them for such a good deal. Secondhand, saved them from thrift store hell. But so we have those. And then the next one is a very popular author that is also very hit or miss with people. But I have really enjoyed it. And my friend has already gotten through her entire backlist and has enjoyed all of them. And that is Emily Henry. I've read Funny Story, and I really, really liked Funny Story. And so, again, from Pango and one from Book Outlet, I ended up getting the rest of them. And now I need to complete my journey, because also the new one is releasing later this month. And I know for sure I'm really eager to read that. But in terms of romance, those are my auto-buy authors. We have Abby, Tara, Sarah, and Emily. So let's move on to horror. I have one auto-buy author in horror. Horror, in my opinion, is really hard to find a decent author other than like someone like Stephen King. And that, because Stephen King's such a rarity. And I don't even know if I would call Stephen King an auto-buy author for me, because my quest is to get through his backlist one day. And by then I will be 99 and probably dead before I even get to do it. One that I do thoroughly enjoy is Grady Hendrix. His books are so fun and yet so creepy and ugh, I guess is a good way to put it. Just depending on which one it is. This one always caught my eye before I started reading him, because it is literally like an IKEA catalog. Like, you open it up and it was such a quick read. But so they work in an IKEA knockoff store. They even admit it in the book. And they're staying after hours because there's weird things going on. And so a few employees stay after hours, and then a few other employees stay after hours because they were like sneaking in because these other guys were staying after hours, and bad haunted things happen. And it was really, really good. I really enjoyed this book. I have also read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This one, all I'll say is the rat scene. If you know, you know. And I actually read his newest one earlier this year, but through audiobook, so I don't have a physical copy, which is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. That one was excellent. You honestly, at least in my opinion, you wouldn't have known if it was written by a man, just because of the sensitive topics that it addressed in the book. And I think it was so timely. And then in terms of backlist, I have a few that I have yet to read. Final Girl Support Group, We Sold Our Souls, and How to Sell a Haunted House. And then I know he has I Need to Get My Best Friend's Exorcism. And then I know he has a few that are like Amazon exclusives I would like to read. But he just writes enjoyable horror that's not too gruesome, but gruesome enough that like hits the spot for me. And they're fun and creepy. Hey, like, so we have two more auto-buy authors. The next one is a thriller author. This author, I feel like people, again, love them or hate them. It doesn't seem to be an in-between. But for me, I thoroughly enjoy them. I've read most of their books from the library, and that is Riley Sager. His books, the first one that I ever read was Lock Every Door. And that and Home Before Dark just sucked me right in. But my favorite out of all of his books was definitely Survive the Night. That one, that 90s feel, and they're driving home like two strangers needed to drive home from campus, and there's no cell phones, and there's a possible serial killer. Perfection. I thought that book was fabulous. And so I'm working on getting his books in physical format, either hardback or paperback, whichever, because I have a couple of them audiobook, and then a couple of them I've only ever read from the library. And then I have Backlist ones that I haven't read. These three I haven't read. So House Across the Lake, Final Girls, and The Last Time I Lied. So I have these ones that I need to read. And then, of course, his new one is coming out in June, which I am very, very excited about. So we also have that coming up. So another auto by author that you either love or you hate. And last but not least, we have one last author in more of the lit fic category. And probably not so surprising, as this is a popular author for most. And that would be Taylor Jenkins Reid. So much so, I love them, and this book in particular, that I made this. This was before Evelyn Hugo had a special edition out, which I still need to get, that I was like, I'm just gonna make my own. So I made this, just vinyl, and I sprayed the edges and did one of my favorite quotes on the back, where never let anyone make you feel ordinary. But yeah, but I have read a good majority of her books, including her backlist, either via audio or physical books. I've read all but one of the Hollywood series, so all I have left is Carrie Soto is Back. And then I've read, I think, pretty much all of the old romance ones, except maybe two. So I have Forever Interrupted. But these are the ones that I own physically. And again, this is an author that I would like to own all of her books, just because this is an author I could see myself rereading. But in terms of auto by authors, I feel like I have a good collection of authors that I enjoy, and they are authors that it's not just a one-time read. It is an author I would like to revisit again and again and again, who put out books frequently that I can enjoy. I have authors that I would like, that I do revisit again and again, like Suzanne Collins and things like that, but where it's limited to just like the small, like I have these books, but I wouldn't necessarily call them an auto by author per se. But these authors, I feel they write things that I really resonate with, that I really love. Some of them that I have maybe jumped into the deep end, hopefully prove me right. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted. But tell me down below who your favorite auto by authors are. Who do you like? Are any of these your auto by authors? If you made it this far and you don't have an auto by author, leave me one of the book emojis. And if you like this video, like this video. If you're new here, hit subscribe and stick around. I'd love to see you around, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.